that you could have been wrong after all. Or maybe you are that person who keeps telling everyone that no, Elsa is not a princess. No matter what, you'll want to watch our video until the end to know the truth about Moana. If you love Disney princesses as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you 10 common misconceptions about Disney princesses. Pocahontas did not fall in love. Most of you know that the Disney movie was based on a true story, but what you might not know is that the company turned a tragedy into a fairy tale. In the movie, Pocahontas met John Smith, and they both fell in love as they discovered each other's worlds. She ended up saving him, but they finally had to be separated. If you watch the second movie, Pocahontas 2: Journey to a New World, you also found out that the Native American princess went to Europe and fell in love with John Rolfe. But this couldn't be further from the truth. First, Pocahontas was only a nickname given to a girl named Matoaka, meaning spoiled child. She was only a child when she met John Smith, so we really hope that they did not love each other that much. Actually, according to the real Powhatan Nation, she didn't like him at all. She was taken prisoner at age 17 and agreed to marry John Rolfe as a condition of her release. Matoaka became Rebecca Rolfe and had a son named Thomas before passing away at only 21 years old. Many people criticize that Disney changed this terrible story to make money, and we couldn't agree more with them. If they wanted to tell Pocahontas' story in a movie, they should have told the truth. Snow White was not old enough. The evil queen wanted to be the fairest of them all, but when she saw Snow White growing up and becoming more beautiful every day, she decided to get rid of the competition. The queen first asked the hunter to come back with her heart, but when she escaped, she saw that she would have to do it herself by giving a poisoned apple to Snow White. The young princess was finally saved by a kiss of true love and married the prince. But this story is not as beautiful as you might think. Snow White did not only marry a stranger who kissed her when she was unconscious, but she was also too young to get married. In the Disney movie, Snow White was only 14 years old. This is what makes her the youngest Disney princess, but also the oldest, as she was the hero of the first movie. If you think that this is really inappropriate, wait until you hear about the original tale. In the fairy tale book written by the Brothers Grimm, the young girl was only 7 years old. So it's a good thing that Disney made her a little older, but this was still not enough. 14 years old is too young to marry a prince and live happily ever after. And no matter how old you are, it is always too soon to be chased by a hunter who wants to steal your heart. Elsa was not a princess. If you ask kids who was their favorite Disney princess in 2013, most of them would say that it was Elsa. Too many people were singing Let It Go, and all the others had that song stuck in their heads even if they didn't want to. She was the woman everyone wanted to be. Elsa was strong, independent, powerful, and she said one thing that everyone will remember forever. You can't marry a man you just met. We could say that she was perfect after all, but there is one thing that Elsa can't be: your favorite Disney princess. That's because if you watched the movie, you would learn that she is now a queen. So yes, she used to be a princess just like her sister Anna when their parents were still alive, but everyone saw that she was coronated as the Queen of Arendelle in one of the first scenes of the movie, which gives her an upgrade that we should not forget. It is great to finally see a powerful woman in a Disney movie. The Queen was the hero of her own story. She had to deal with a lot of responsibilities, and she was mature enough to understand that her sister was more important than any man she'll ever meet. But don't worry, you can still say that she's your favorite Disney queen. Cinderella was not weak. Now that we see women who are the heroes of their own stories save their countries and learn how to live happily ever after without a man, the first Disney princesses look a little weak. After all, Cinderella didn't do anything to make her life better when she was a servant. She received help from her fairy godmother, and her life suddenly changed for the best when she met Prince Charming. She didn't even seem memorable for him, as she had to try on a shoe to prove that she was actually the love of his life. This might make little girls feel like they just have to be pitiful until a man comes by to save them. But you'd be wrong about that. If any other young woman were forced to work as a servant, her first reaction would probably be to fight against her stepmother and try to escape. But Cinderella was strong enough to control herself and wait patiently instead of making things worse. Anyone else would have turned into a pitiful, desperate, and angry character if they were treated like that. But there was nothing her stepmother could do to keep her from being beautiful, nice, and kind. And unless you are always able to stay calm in the most terrible situations, you cannot say that Cinderella was weak. Ariel was not stupid. The Little Mermaid was one of the funniest characters we have ever seen. She was fascinated by the human world and loved to collect objects that used to belong to them. Then she asked her friend Scuttle to tell her what it was, and we were always surprised by one of the most ridiculous answers. This is why when Ariel finally got a pair of legs, she wasn't shy to use her fork as a comb in front of Prince Eric. But don't think that any of these mistakes makes her stupid. You would do weird things too if you were suddenly turned into a mermaid and tried to live amongst them. Ariel was actually one of the smartest Disney princesses we ever met. Ariel was obsessed with one thing, and she always wanted to know more about it. This is why she kept collecting anything she could find, explore shipwrecks, and ask many questions. And this is the best thing to do if you ever want to become smarter. She just didn't have the chance to find a good teacher until she met Prince Eric. But yes, she did exchange her voice for a pair of legs, which was a little stupid. But she got what she wanted at the end, so we could say that Ariel was not only smart, but also very daring. Mulan was based on a legend. Many people think that Mulan was based on a true story. As we had the chance to see in the Disney movie, a young woman knew that she wasn't meant to be a housewife. This is why she decided to dress as a man and join the army, even if it meant breaking the law. It wasn't easy during the first days, but the young woman quickly learned to become one of the best warriors by working really hard. And then, Mulan ended up saving her country and had nothing left to hide. This story was realistic, and this is why many people thought that Mulan really existed. After all, it wouldn't be the first time that we see a woman pretending to be a man to join the army. But unfortunately, there is no proof that Mulan ever existed. The Disney movie was actually based on the Chinese tale The Ballad of Mulan. In this story, the young woman was actually a very skilled warrior and wasn't ashamed to tell her family that she wanted to go to war. Moreover, no one really cared when she revealed that she was a woman, and she was in the army for much longer than we thought. We'll probably never know if the real Mulan ever existed, so one thing is sure for now, the Disney movie could only be based on the poem. Tiana didn't marry a black man. When The Princess and the Frog was released, we were all happy to see an African-American woman get the attention that she deserved. Tiana wasn't waiting for a Prince Charming to save her. She knew that she had to work hard to make her dreams come true. But everything changed when she turned into a frog, and the only thing she could think about was becoming human again. Even though people might say that we watched her hopping around as a frog for too long, it was great to finally see a beautiful and feminine black woman as a role model. It was a big deal for all the little girls of color who finally saw that they could be a Disney princess too. However, even though they were happy to see Tiana, some people were disappointed to see the color of her prince when he turned back into a human. Naveen's skin was brown, but lighter than Tiana's. Moreover, his name is Indian, and he came from a kingdom that didn't exist. A Disney executive even said that his background was made up, so he was whatever ethnicity they have in fictional Meldonia. But no matter what his color was, we think that everyone should be happy to see the two lovers together. It was great to see people of different ethnic backgrounds falling in love with each other. Belle didn't need a man. In the first Disney movies, we were used to seeing a poor princess who was waiting for Prince Charming to come and save her simply because she was kind and beautiful. It made us think that women couldn't be the heroes of their own stories, and that their role was just to look good and wait patiently. But Belle was not a young woman like any other. Yes, she did fall in love with a prince, but this time, he was not the one who saved her. She was the one who saved him. The bookworm was already happy to live with the most important man in her life, her father. A man was interested in her, but she couldn't care less. Belle knew that she deserved better than marrying a man who had nothing more than good looks. Meeting the Beast was more a tragedy than love at first sight, but she decided to make the best out of this situation. She wasn't saved by her good looks, but because she knew that the best thing to do was to give him the chance to become a better man. There is nothing wrong with falling in love, as long as you know that you are more than someone's wife. If the Beast had never been there, Belle would have been happily ever after anyway. Aurora was not boring. Sleeping Beauty was the kind of girl who couldn't do anything but wait patiently for her Prince Charming to come and save her with a kiss of true love. Out of all the other Disney princesses, Aurora had the least screen time, 18 minutes to be exact. During this time, she only spoke 18 times. That was not a lot if she wanted to be the hero of her own story. Actually, the three fairies were better protagonists than her. But that didn't mean that the girl didn't make the best out of that short time, and she was certainly not boring. Aurora was described as gentle and loving, but we could also say that she was obedient, dreamy, romantic, and loyal. And we know that she must have something really special to make the prince fall in love at first sight. This kind of fairy tale story doesn't happen every day. And no matter what, Aurora stood up for herself when she said that she didn't want to marry a random prince. She wanted to marry for love. She might have been sleeping for a long time in the movie, but we can't say that it was her fault. Don't forget that she had been cursed. And we also have to admit that we would like to be just like her. Sleeping as much as we want until the love of our lives comes to save us is a dream come true. Moana was not a princess. If you think that Moana is your favorite Disney princess, we are sorry to tell you that you are wrong. We love that she is independent, strong, and daring. She had the courage to break the rules and face everyone's fear to save her tribe. And on her way to accomplish her mission, she found something that was even more important: who she truly was. Moana was an amazing woman, but there is one thing she was not. She was not a princess. If you don't believe us, remember that she said it herself in the movie. When Moana decided to set out on a canoe against the wishes of her father, she met the demigod Maui. He made the mistake to repeatedly call her princess, but Moana clarified that she was not a princess. She was the daughter of the chief. To this, Maui replied that if you wear a dress and have an animal sidekick, you're a princess. We have to admit that it made us laugh, but no matter what, we'll have to believe our favorite character and admit that she was not a princess after all. And she will probably never be. Did we forget any other common misconception? Don't be shy to tell us what it is in the comments section down below. We love to know what you think. And that's it for 10 common misconceptions about Disney princesses. For more stories like this, make sure you watch 10